Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we just had episode 21 of Evolve. I still can't believe that we've gotten this far into the series, but I wanted to go over it like we do every single week. So let's jump into this. So we had Idris Anobe versus Dante Chen. They've been going back and forth. This, rivalry slash whatever like feud that's going on, I thought was going to be a little bit better, but like they kind of threw it on here with like a little bit of heat, and it just kind of didn't really live up to it. The match itself just wasn't that great. I think their back and forth was like okay, but I think both of them had like better wrestling skills that they let on, and it didn't really feel like they actually wanted to fight each other compared to like what it seemed like the rivalry was like leading into. Like it felt more brutality. Maybe Dante Chen could have been, maybe tempted to go to the other side to defeat him. And it's just I don't think the story was there for me. So I'm gonna put it in C. The match was okay. It's not the worst match I've ever seen on this, but not also the best. Then we get Jordan Araces coming in here looking for his trying to look for a teammate, and he finds Itzgall and Sam Holloway. Now Sam Holloway, honestly, his wrestling ability that you see in this match and the other match is way better than his backstage fan. He just kind of sat there, and Itzgall is just it's one of the worst. I can't really put in my brain if Itzgall or Tate Wilder is my least favorite wrestler on Evolve, but they're neck and neck, and it's kind of scary. The problem with like Itzgall is I think he's a decent wrestler too, so like I think it's just the gimmick, man. I just can't stand it at all. So this whole thing just kind of led into Itzgall and Sam Holloway having a match against Adrenaline Drip later. I like that they're building a tag division. I think the tag division is going to be the savior of Evolve because they did try 4 matches and it worked tonight, but like sometimes it doesn't. But if you have a tag match in between that, you can put a lot of stuff out there and a lot more people into the card. They had multiple tag matches, so that was 8 guys there. They had the singles match, which was another 2 guys. So they literally had 10 guys and 2 girls on this card, plus the vignettes got some other people involved. So I think that is kind of the crazy thing. You want to have as much as humanly possible shown off on this show without making it look too saturated. And I think tag division would be the call here. This I'd put up an A, I guess. It wasn't anything too bad. I don't think it was. They didn't, the promo was fine. I'm not a big fan of, like I said, Itzgall, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. But we actually get to the match. Itzgall and Sam Holloway versus Adrenaline Drip, which is Cappuccino and Jack Cartwell, which I think are two of the better wrestlers in this whole program. And they absolutely cooked. I mean, Sam Holloway's a big guy and he was doing crazy stuff. He went out like he made it feel like rent was due. This might be my match so far and Evolve that is the best one. I'm putting it up in S tier. I would have to watch the other ones that I had up in S tier. I think there's only been like 2 other matches that I can think of, which is the original tag match. I think the 6-man tag match that they had, and then I think there was one other, but I can't completely think of it off the top of my brain, of just being the best matches. But this one I think is the best match. At episode 21, this is it. Like this is if you haven't watched any Evolve matches, this is the one to watch. Everybody showed up and showed out, and there was a lot of good stuff. If this is what the tag division is going to look like, and we get consistent matches like this, it's going to be super successful. So I'm gonna put up an S tier. Then we had Zeta Seal versus Kendall Gray. Honestly, I like both of these women. They're both great and top of the division. I just feel like it was kind of a weird case to have them both in there. Zeta still took another L, which is just wild for being the first ID program person in here, and she's just not had that momentum. Kendall Gray won, even though Wendy Chu tried to distract her, which I think is a good way to end that because it felt like, oh, the distraction and she's going to lose, but no, she was able to counter it kind of and get the roll up to win that. So I'm cool with that. Like it was a very good match for it being kind of small. So I'll put it up in B. Solid match. Great for Kendall Gray. Great for Zeta Steel. Kendall Gray is turning to be one of my favorites in this whole division, which honestly, more and more I watch Evolve, like there's a lot of I think like the men, there's a couple men that have like really good wrestling ability and like somewhat character work, and then there's just a bunch of like women that are like solid. Like they're just solid work, solid in ring, and like they're ready to just take off, and that's gonna be kind of cool to see. Chantel Moreau, I feel is one of those that are good in the ring, but not as much on the outside. Her gimmick is just not the greatest. I don't think it's necessarily that the gimmick is like boring. It's just that like I think her ability to do it, I think she would have a better shot with something else, but I don't really know. We'd have to see something else. I'd put it down and see. Wasn't a big fan of the little vignette. I feel like they could have just completely got rid of that. It wouldn't have changed anything. Then we had one with Sean Legacy with a backpack. Why is that many people have backpacks? We got Jordan Race's ass with the fucking backpack that I just can't stand. And then we had a Super Sean Legacy with it, which I feel like he should already get the call up to NXT. This should be his match. He defeats Kiana Carver and goes up to NXT. I feel like that's what they should do with this. I have a feeling Kiana Carver is going to win, but this is next week's match. Super excited. Someone put it up in S tier because it should absolutely cook. Next up, we had the main event, which honestly should not have been the main event. They should have ran this in the middle and put the other tag match at the end. I know that's just being biased because of like it being a better match, and this one was more of the story. But they had Brooks and Jensen be the one that's the mystery partner that we just saw last week attack the champion. So it wasn't completely shocking. That was going to be my number one pick of who it was going to be, unless it was somebody completely random just to get in there. But it kind of just it felt like it was weird because the announcers were talking about how he just is this good guy. He was literally just in a cult and a heel, so like they just want you to forget that just so he could turn heel and not help out his partner. The whole thing was kind of dumb. He's just like, I want the title, so he like lets him lose here. I don't understand that at all. If he would have won the match with Jordan Oasis, he would have had a better shot to be the number one contender for the title. So none of it made sense. The match itself was okay, nothing special. I put it in C. I would say the show is a solid B plus. That match, that tag match, just held it together so well. If that wasn't there, this would be a dangerously like maybe B minus C plus type episode. But that match really raises it up. And like if you're gonna watch a match to be what Evolve is, that is the match, and that's what you need to go around and look at the rest of your roster and make it look like that. But overall, still pretty solid show. Better than last week's. 21 is, pretty good. I feel like there's a lot of good episodes that they've gotten out there and a lot of good, people that they've worked together with. And I think it's been great. I think they really are starting to get their thing. I do kind of eventually want to do a rating of the roster again. I did one at 10, and I was thinking about doing the next one around 25, but it just kind of depends because I wouldn't mind doing it sooner. So I'm gonna have to think about that one because I don't know. Evolve is just fun. It's one of the better shows that I just like. Obviously, it's an hour long. Really, in the grand scheme of things, it's just people trying to cut their teeth in the business and stuff, and I think it works out. But yeah, if you guys like this, we do Evolve, NXT, Raw, SmackDown. We do all of the show reviews and a bunch of other stuff. We got a bunch of Stardom stuff and all the different Japanese promotions, like all the Joshi promotions are having their big tournament, so we'll be talking about that soon. And if you like wrestling in general or WNBA, because we got a little bit of WNBA here, this is the spot for you. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Bye, guys.